Okay, so let's talk about how we can create a failover cluster. Let's say we've already validated our failover cluster configuration. We know that it says it should work. Now we can go in and create a failover cluster. I'm going to go to my tools and failover cluster manager. And just as a reminder, we can validate a configuration, and that's going to be important. We're going to look at that before we do this, make sure that we've resolved any major issues. Once we are happy with it, we can create a cluster. Now, because of the environment that I'm in, this little test environment and some of my limitations in it, I'm going to create a single node failover cluster. And before y'all object, I know single node does not a cluster make. These are mutually exclusive terms, but Microsoft will allow us to go ahead and create a single node cluster. And the idea being we can add more nodes to it later on. So I'm going to add a failover or a server to my cluster configuration, and I want my BASA 301-DM1, make sure I got the right thing, and I'm going to add my server to my failover cluster, and there we go. We have it. Now I can click next. I'm going to set the cluster name, and this is going to be an FS cluster. It's going to be a file server. Spell cluster correctly. And then I need to give an IP address for the cluster name. And now this IP address goes to the cluster name, not to the cluster role. So I'm going to use 50, let me use 100 for my failover cluster IP address. Now, when I add a role, we're going to see this a little bit later, we're going to add another IP address for that role. So we'll double check all of this, and it looks good. So I'm going to click next, and then this is going to create my failover cluster. Now, when we create a failover cluster, we have a cluster, but nothing is running on top of that cluster. So I'm creating a file server failover cluster here. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do it here real quick. So ideally, I would have installed the file server role on all of my devices, and then I can cluster them, and I cluster just like this, and this creates my cluster here. I can expand, and I can look at roles that are maintained by this cluster, the nodes that are in this cluster, and over here I can add a node, or if I had a node, I'd have the option to remove the node as well. You can right-click and pause, resume remote desktop to it, stop the cluster service, evict them from the file or from the cluster. Doesn't make any sense when I've only got one to evict. I have my storage, and I've got disks, pools, and enclosures that are cluster aware. And if you remember, we created in a previous video, we created a couple of iSCSI disks, so I can add a disk here, and I can add both of these disks to my cluster. And the idea is one of these would function as a disk witness, and the other we can actually store data on. And then we have networks, and we can have multiple networks here. And one of the things we talked about, this is used for the cluster and the client, and ideally we would separate those out. Ideally we would have three, one for the cluster, one for the client, one for storage. So this is how I can manage my cluster. Now here are going to be the cluster roles that are running on it. And before I do this, I want to make sure that I have my file server role added in here. So expand my file servers. Yep, I'm going to add my file server role. And then I can create a cluster and do a clustered file server, which is going to give me a high availability file server. All right, this is going to take it a second to install. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, and then we'll pick it up here when this install finishes. Okay, so my file server role install is finished. So I'm going to close that and go back to my cluster manager. And now in my cluster manager on this, I can configure an additional role. And then I can also make highly available virtual machines. Okay, so for my role, I can pick which of these roles I want to make highly available. So we've got a DFS namespace server, DHCP, distributed transaction coordinator, file server. I can do it for generic applications, scripts or services. I can do it for virtual machines, other types of servers. I want to do a file server. So I'm going to click next, and then I get to just find what I want. I can do a file server for general use or a scale out file server. And it gives you a little bit, use this option to provide storage for server applications or virtual machines. Okay, we're going to do a file server for general use. So I'm going to leave that and I'm going to click next. And I'm going to name this fs1.basset.local. And that's going to be the name of my file server that clients are going to see. Now remember I said we have an IP address for the server. We also have or for the cluster, we also have one for the role. So this is going to be 101. I'm going to click next. And doesn't want the domain information. Got ahead of myself there. Next. And then it's going to validate settings, make sure nobody else is using this name or this IP address. And it says, oh, it's already in Active Directory because I was playing with it a little bit ago. So we're going to do FS2. Now that should validate. Okay, and then I can choose which one of these is going to be what host. And remember, this is my iSCSI clustered shared storage. So this one actually needs a quick scan on it, so I'm going to ignore that one at the moment. And ideally, one of these would be as a disk witness. Now, note if you remember the way the quorum is set up in failover clustering, we need to have an odd number of votes as to whether they're to keep the quorum active or not. So I currently have just one, which is fine. But if I had another server, then I'm going to need a disk witness so that we'd have 3 votes as to whether the quorum stays up or not. If I had a third server, then the disk witness can go away. If I had a fourth server, it needs to come back. So I'm going to leave this one, after it gets checked to scanned on it at some point, as my disk witness, and this is going to be the one that I actually store my files in that are being shared out. So I'm going to click next, and this gives us our configuration, and next. And this is going to configure that. So high availability succeeded. Yay, good for us. So we now have FS2 in this OU and with this IP address. So I'm going to click finish, and now under my roles, I have FS2 running. Okay, I actually can't access it yet because I need to add a share to it. So I'm going to right click and I can start or stop the role, add a file share, move it to another node, change startup priority, add storage to it, add other resources. We get some more actions down here. We can get rid of it. So I want to add a file share. And here we go. We're going to do some retrieving here. Pull up some. While this is coming up, by the way, I want to minimize this and I want to bring up my DC. Now, this is going to be my domain controller for this domain. I'm going to go ahead and log in. Let me maximize that again so it actually goes full screen. There we go. And I'm going to go to Tools and Active Directory Users and Computers. And here we're going to see under computers, here is, so I was playing with this one a little bit earlier and I took this down. So this one's down, this one's down, this one's down, this was me playing around. But here you can have the FS cluster that we just created, and here's going to be the FS2, the file servers that we just created. I can go ahead and delete these other ones. You don't need to see me do this, but if you are playing around with it, you are going to want to clean out Active Directory, and this is where you come to clean that out. Now, I'm also going to open up my DNS server. And in my DNS server, we're going to go to forward lookup zones, basset301.local. And here, again, you're going to see the practice cluster is one that I don't need anymore. FS1 is one that I don't need anymore. But here you're going to see the FS cluster and the FS2, which are the ones I just created. So these are now here. All right, so let me manage. By the way, when they're here, it is going to take a few minutes for clients to be able to use them. So let me go back to here. And so we started creating a new file share. And it went ahead and scanned through while we were playing and showed that everything was fine. So now we can choose which type of file share. And this is going to be really, really similar, except for one thing. It's going to be really, really similar to creating a file share inside Server Manager. So I'm going to do an SMB quick share. And if you want to look at the different types of shares you could create, it'll show you over here what they are. We're doing an SMB quick share. I'm going to put it on FS2. We're going to specify by volume. It's going to go on the G drive. And then I'm going to set the share name. There we go. And we're going to call this company files. That's what we did before when we were practicing. Now, here's where this is different. Typically, when I do this, I can enable access-based enumeration, allow caching of share, and encrypt data access. But now, because I'm doing this on a cluster, I have the option to enable continuous availability. Track file operations on a highly available file share so that clients can fail over to another node on the cluster without interruption. And that's the whole reason I did this. And I'm going to go ahead and enable access-based enumeration just because I like to. So I'm going to click Next, set my permissions, and create. Now, that creates my file share for me. Now, I told you that it sometimes takes a little while for things to come up, right? So ideally, I should be able to open File Manager, and from File Manager in the navigation bar type // fs2, so file server 2, .basset 301.local. And bingo, it's there. Here are my company files, and now I can go in and I can start creating files and folders and all the things I would do in a file share. And when I need that high availability, what I do is I go back to my failover cluster manager, and I have another computer set up running same OS, try to keep things as similar as we can, but I can go to my failover cluster, and I can add a node, and that will allow me to add in an additional file server, both of them having access to the same shared storage. And so now we would have, when we did that, a failover cluster that will share that file, and if one server dies, then the other one's ready to take it over. Okay, there we go. Creating a failover cluster and adding a role to it.